I'm Wendy Kay of the Empaths, Ascension, and Psychic Stuff community, and I'm so glad you've chosen or have been guided to listen to one of our community shows. By continuing to listen, you agree to the terms found at wendyswisdom.ca/terms.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today. Before we get started on today's show, I just want to mention that if you want to support the work that I am doing, please become a patron by joining the Empaths, Ascension, and Psychic Stuff community at patreon.com/Wendy Kay. That's patreon.com/WendyKay. Today I thought I would do a channeled message from a divine being of light, and I had specifically asked for information to come through about what we can expect to see as we move forward in terms of what's happening on the planet. That was my intent. However, when I actually did the channeled message, it kind of took another route. The divine being that came through spoke more about the background, I guess I'm going to say, of what is causing the changes that we're going to see. He didn't really talk about the changes that we're going to see. I guess that is either going to come through at a later date, or it is going to be evident to us as we move forward. So here is the message from the divine being of light. Greetings, children of the divine. I am pleased to be sharing this information with you today. Wendy has asked that you be given some insight into what you can expect as the energy comes to completion on the Golden Kingdom Earth, and the doors of negativity are closed, so that all those who exist in the earthly realm are here to stay. When that happens, you can expect to see many changes in the earth, the dark earth. The negativity that currently exists will be given free rein to tempt and encourage those who are living and those who are in spirit but who have not crossed over to join the dark forces. Understand that the dark forces are very much like a military command with various levels that serve the Dark Lord. They will do their best to convert each and every soul over to the ways of the Dark Lord. Understand that this is meant to be. This is a thinning out process. There will be many new souls being born. Those souls that do not choose to join the divine will end up joining the Dark Lord. It is a choice that each soul makes. Even you who are listening to this message made that choice at one time or another. Throughout the centuries, you have chosen to learn lessons and to grow as a soul to become one with the divine. But understand that there were many who chose a different direction. Many have wondered where the negative entities come from in the first place, and that is your answer. They were new souls who chose to join the dark forces. While those of us in spirit are sad to see this choice, we do understand why the choice was made, and indeed it does benefit us as we use these dark souls in the growth process for those who have chosen to walk in the divine. Do understand that the dark entities are of God. However, they are not of the divine God. They choose to answer to the Dark Lord. That Lord is a separate entity, but is also from God. It is, as you would describe, a very evil entity who thrives on destruction, chaos, hatred, and all that is opposite of divine love. For thousands of years, this dark energy has been controlled. However, once we get to this time in humanity, those in spirit step back and give more control over to the dark forces. Understand this is done simply to separate those who choose to walk a path of divine love from those who choose to walk a path of the dark forces. It has been like this since the dawn of time. Understand that as these negative entities and beings take hold of those humans who choose to walk in the dark, life on this planet will change dramatically. It will be extremely important for you to connect to the divine for protection. You will need to delve deep to let your truth shine so that you are not tempted by the dark forces. Walk your truth. Speak your truth. By that, we mean that you walk in divine love and you speak in divine love. Does that mean that you walk around loving everyone? No, of course not. There will be many of you that walk away from others because you need to walk away from them. There will be many where you feel very negative towards them because you are working through life lessons and karma. You are still walking the same path of spiritual growth. When we ask you to walk and speak your truth, it means that you are to allow the essence of your soul to come forward, and that essence is of divine love. That means that you reject the dark forces. It is that simple. Many people believe that it means they need to preach the word of the divine. While there is nothing wrong in that, it does one no good to preach the word of the divine, but to actually live and follow the dark forces. There will be many who join the dark forces and do not realize that they have done so. As time passes, there will be as many false guides as there are divine guides. The dark forces are in heavy recruitment right now, and more false guides have been recruited. It is important that you understand what is happening right now rather than understand what the changes will be. It is important that you stay focused on divine love and that all of your interactions with spirit are based in divine love. Please understand that there is a difference between God and the divine God. God includes both negative and positive energy and entities. The divine God excludes any negativity or negative entities. So choose your words carefully to make sure that you invoke the energy of the divine, for it will impact your life dramatically if you do not. Divine blessings to each and every soul. Divine blessings to you. So that was the message that came through. And I think his definition of speak your truth was really interesting. I certainly have read a lot of things in the different groups on Facebook, etc., where people are saying, I'm going to speak my truth. I'm going to just talk about whatever I want because that's my truth. The meaning of speak your truth has been misinterpreted by many. That's really to be expected because if anybody gets the message from Spirit, speak your truth, they usually aren't going to ask, well, what exactly does that mean? They're going to take the message and just interpret it for their own benefit, which is what we are basically taught to do with all of the messages that we get. Whenever we get a message, we take it, we interpret it so that it is correct for our path. But there aren't a lot of people who actually question more deeply their own interpretation. That is perfectly normal. When you're walking a path and you're learning to develop your abilities and you are learning to speak with spirit, it is quite normal that you don't actually ask questions. As you progress and as your vibration increases and you start to become more comfortable with spirit and you start to learn more, then it is normal to start to ask more questions. So when people are being told to speak your truth, they think it means, well, this is what I believe in, so I'm going to tell everybody, regardless of how the other person feels, what I believe or how I feel or what I think. And because I was told speak my truth, it really doesn't matter how the other person feels or what they think, because I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing, which is speaking my truth. And that is not the meaning of it, apparently. It means that when you speak your truth, you speak the truth of the path you're following as a soul, which is the path of divine love. And that path does include showing compassion for others, which means if you are around other people who are uncomfortable with you speaking about all of your development and speaking about those in spirit, and it makes them uncomfortable, instead of you saying to yourself, well, I'm speaking my truth and who cares what they think, the actual path you're walking is one of learning compassion. That's part of the path. And in that case, you would actually say to yourself, well, this is making this other person uncomfortable, so I'm not going to speak about it in front of them because I understand how they feel and I don't want to make them feel that way. When they are ready to hear what I have to share, they're going to approach me and ask me about it. The reason that you can trust in that happening is because you have a deeper knowledge of how spirit works and know what they are capable of doing or not doing. So if someone is meant to learn about what you have to share, spirit can make sure that they ask you about it so that they get the information necessary. So if you have heard the term speak your truth and you have defined it for yourself, do make sure that the way you have defined it is actually the way spirit meant it to be defined. I also found it very interesting how he spoke about the military having a very defined structure to it. I've heard different things about that over the last year. I've received messages about how the Dark Forces is like a military and that there is structure to it, but that's coming out more and more. I'm guessing, it's a guess, that that's because as they are settling into a routine and given more freedom, that hierarchy is going to fit into place and the roles are going to become much more defined, or we're going to hear about them and understand the roles that are being played by the different dark forces. I know that there have been some people who have asked about why this is happening, why all these negative entities are suddenly here, and it looks like we have our answer in that there is this thinning out process that is going to be happening, where people are being forced to choose between walking a path of divine love or joining the dark forces. Chances are, if you're listening to this right now, you are probably on a path of divine love. But Spirit also wants you to understand that even those who have been walking a path of divine love for a long time can be tempted into changing their path and joining the dark forces. So it's really, really important to focus on your essence and the truth of who you are in order to continue to walk a path of divine love during this time where there is going to be such a great exposure to the negative forces. Lots of things to think about as we move forward. And if you would like to support the work that I do, please consider becoming a patron by joining the Empaths, Ascension, and Psychic Stuff community at patreon.com/Wendy Kay, patreon.com/WendyKay. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Wendy Kay, and remember to live and breathe in divine love energy.